Good afternoon. This is the Open Space Committee meeting of Monday, June 8th, 2015. This meeting is being recorded and broadcasted on local access. May all members please rise and join for a salute to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started, I'd just like to introduce myself, and we'll come from Eric, and we'll go this way, just to introduce each other. My name is Matthew Benoit. I'm the town planner.
Eric Lesperance, Assistant Town Planner.
Downey.
Ann Weston.
Mark Banal.
Al Kalesa.
John Anderson.
Thanks everyone for volunteering your service to this committee. It's hard to get seats filled from dedicated members, and I really appreciate your commitment to this group. Thank you very much for signing on. So, one of the things we shall have to do is create a meeting schedule, and I believe this committee met in the past on first and third Mondays, if I'm not mistaken, but I think it's up to us to discuss how we'd like to meet in the future and proceed on a regular schedule. So I'll open the floor to the group.
I don't recall when we met. I don't remember meeting on a Monday, but the first and third Monday would be all right with me. I don't know what the rest of you feel.
That'd be fine for me.
It's good. Yeah, we did. I think we primarily met on Mondays in the past. We didn't meet twice a month, so it was the meetings were spaced out a lot more.
Okay.
But looks like we have some work to do, so we're probably going to be needing to meet more often.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if, at least for the next month, if we're going to need to meet more than just the first and third, given that we have to give a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen by the end of July. But maybe we'll have a better idea after we meet with the Selectmen later on.
Sure.
What do you think?
Absolutely. And that's another reason we're here today, is to prepare for what the Board of Selectmen is going to speak to us about later today at 7:15 at their meeting, where we'll be holding a joint meeting. I put on our agenda committee organization. That would be voting for chair, vice chair, and minutes. If it's okay with the board, I'd like to move that down and give us a chance to discuss items first and then decide who chair, vice chair, minutes may be. So without further ado, I will open up to the property in front of us now, which is the South Holt Road property, purchased by the town just this year. This is a former 61A agricultural land, bought by the town for $2.86 million, and currently they're going to be going out for bonds to purchase this land, on either taxable bonds or non-taxable bonds. So the Board of Selectmen is going to be asking us to recommend a use, not a particular use, or whether or not this use can be non-taxable or taxable. So in a nutshell, just as an example, if 100% of this land, by recommendation of the committee, was to be for municipal use, it would qualify for non-taxable. If 99% or lower was going to be used for anything that's not non-taxable, that has to go for a full taxable bond. So even if we were using all but half an acre for for town use, and then we're going to build a single-family house, that whole thing has to be taxable. So we have to decide how we'd like to recommend to the Board of Selectmen so they can get their bond in order. So I'll just get into some details on the property.
Matt, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Is it possible to split the parcel of property so that we could have part of it taxable and part of it not taxable?
I think it's a good question for the board a little later today. They're going to go over those technicalities
Okay.
much better than I. But yes, anything A&R that can be done here, I believe we can do, so long as we're not creating non-conforming lots through the planning board. Divvying up this land, I don't believe would be an issue. So just some characteristics. I made a list of allowable uses for this property, and I'll just kind of read through them, just for the folks at home and the folks here today. But some permitted uses, since this isn't a zoning RB district, permitted uses are forestry, harvesting of forestry products, orchards, market gardens, commercial poultry or livestock raising of pets for gainful purpose, reservation, wildlife preserve or conservation use, outdoor recreational use, such as country clubs, sporting grounds, camping, not to be conducted as gainful purpose, or single-family dwellings. Uses that are permitted by special permit, two-family detached dwellings, townhouses or apartments, so that each building shall have no more than 12 dwelling units. Congregate housing for elderly and handicapped, minimum parcel size of 5 acres required. This is a 50-acre overall plot of land. Hospital, sanitarium, nursing, or other philanthropic or charitable institution. Broadcasting facility, radio, TV, railroad or bus depot, or other governmental uses. That's allowed via special permit. Uses permitted via site plan approval, nonprofit educational institution, daycare, childcare, cultural schools, church, library, museum, public recreational facility, government administrative buildings such as fire or police station, pumping stations, treatment plants, and water supply uses. Anything that's not within those 3 criteria would be a prohibited use. Just wanted to read those out loud. That's a nice comprehensive list. Those are according to the Auburn zoning bylaws. So I also provided a map to the group, thanks to Eric, who is a gifted GIS specialist in creating this imagery. Thank you for doing that. This might give you a better idea of the location of the property and its proximity to some of the other properties in town. So with that, I open the floor to the group for discussion and questions.
There's
I
only,
can answer as we go.
there's only one access, right? Off Curtis Street? Off Southport Road?
Yes, Curtis Street ends as a public street about 300 feet, and then it comes to a sharp corner on a private section of Curtis Street, then turns into South Hill Road for probably about a half a mile, maybe a little longer before it hits Worcester. South Hill Road is not a road that's easily navigable.
Yeah, I know.
But it does come out in Worcester, though.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
There's only one access point from Auburn.
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct. So one thing that I'd like to point out is the connection to the Pappas Rec Complex is a 12-foot wide section that connects right above north of that diversion channel next to a piece of private property.
A little triangle there?
That's correct.
Wow.
We have currently received a grant for $15,000 to construct a walking trail, or to design and construct a walking trail that would connect the Pappas Recreational Complex to the 61A land. The exact map of the trail is unknown at this time because the $15,000 is going to go towards wetland delineation, land surveying, and feasibility to see if the trail can happen. But that would hopefully take up some of this space for the open space requirement, which is one of the permitted uses and would qualify under a non-taxable bond. That's all we have planned for the property at this time, to my knowledge.
When do you plan on having the wetlands delineated?
The contracts in the town manager's office to be signed. Once that is done, we start the RFP process to get a consultant to do the delineation. It should be this summer. The entire project's hopefully to be completed by next year this time, including design, permitting, and construction.
So you're doing an RFP for consulting services?
The listing of allowable uses, which ones are taxable and which ones aren't? Is there an easy way of picking that up?
I'd have to.
Wouldn't it just be the ones related to government
I
use?
believe so. That and anything that's charitable C3. And for us, since it's owned by us, it would just be, I believe, the government use. You're correct. I'd have to check if, let's say, a church would qualify for that if it's not owned by the town. I'm not certain.
So does that include elderly housing too?
Again, I'm not certain. It depends on the ownership of that.
So I just want to make sure I understand. So what you're saying, Matt, is that in order for the property to be not taxable, it would have to be owned by the town of Auburn, not anyone else.
Yes, again, I'm trying to advise you as best as I can, but I believe the Board of Selectmen is going to point you in a more definitive direction in about an hour from now.
How does the Board of Selectmen, have they made any recommendation for the use?
I believe each member has their opinions. Overall, they agree they'd like a recommendation from this committee.
Now, do you all understand what Chapter 61A land is,
Yes.
gentlemen? Mark?
There's no access out to Route 20, right?
Not currently. There is,
Piece of land in the middle?
yes, there is a parcel of land that separates the southwest corner of this the southeast corner of the property from Route 20.
Is that still for sale?
I believe it's being leased. I'm not sure of the overall sale. In fact, I think there's a new business in there now.
Okay.
Another thing I included in your handout was some information provided to the Board of Selectmen by some appointed agents that looked at the 61A parcels before the Board of Selectmen made a decision to purchase the property. And one of those recommendations came from Mr. DeLawless, who did a walkthrough. And the other one on the second page is a site assessment done by John Rockwood, who was a wetland scientist. So some highlights from that information was there weren't substantial wetlands in the area, but there were some intermittent streams, one of them that divides some of the property in half, and then a small vernal pool on the southward side of the property. So overall, not a considerable amount of wetlands, but there are some areas that would need to be addressed by conservation for future development, if any. I just wanted to provide you with as much as I could up front. If there's any other ideas you have of information you'd like to get, please let me know. Try to do as much administrative homework for you as I can.
Are you gentlemen going to be doing the minutes for the committee? Or are we on our own?
Uncertain.
Uncertain?
Yeah.
I'm taking them for this meeting just to cover our bases.
The reason I'm uncertain is because I'll be away in Aruba for 2 weeks after this. So I'm going to miss your next meeting regardless. But Eric is here today so that he could take questions and prepare you for the next meeting.
Are we supposed to be looking at all the open space land in town?
I believe eventually, but given the time-sensitive nature of the Board of Selectmen's request to look at this parcel first, this is our primary goal at this time.
But you're right. That is the charge of the committee, to look at all of the open space land in town, all the town-owned open space.
Absolutely.
Yep. And just so all you gentlemen know, Louise Downey is currently on the Conservation Commission. I am not. But just so you know, Louise has direct ear to conservation, so, just so you know.
Would it be appropriate to ask, I don't know if we have the need, but for an official secretary from the town, like the Conservation Commission, Planning Board, Zoning Board of Appeals, they all have an actual town employee that does this, that does it a lot better than me scratching things on a paper. And if we're gonna be getting into in-depth discussions and things that have an impact or have a potential legal impact, should we have a better record keeping? Not putting you down, Eric, but, there's a reason that those committees have official secretaries.
So, yeah, we can explore that. We do have some staff that had done minutes in the past. But I'm sure we can do them for now, until someone could be made full-time to do that. I know in the past, the planning board had someone who just did minutes on a basis. It wasn't a full-time town employee, but I don't believe she does that anymore.
Yeah, she left.
Right, Stacy McGann.
Mm-hmm.
So in the interim, I believe it shouldn't be an issue for us to handle that.
And do you know, have the selectmen invited the neighborhood to their meeting this evening?
I know they made this a public meeting, but I'm not sure they sent out individual letters.
Okay. So you don't know what to expect, really, from the public?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Well, again, just to reiterate the purpose of being here in advance of the Board of Selectmen is just to prepare the group, what we're looking at, have the material, provide this for you so that when the Board of Selectmen meets a little later today, we'll be able to have more information before receiving questions or recommendations from that board.
I have one question that might have some bearing on our recommendations. The Pappas Recreational Complex, is that being fully utilized? Is there something that we could recommend that would extend whatever is happening at the Pappas Recreational area?
Yes, that property is,
Correct me if I'm wrong here, Eric. I think just about 80 acres of land.
but
Being
we're
well
not
used?
using all of that.
Is it being well used?
What's been developed is being well used.
Yeah.
It's consistent. There's a lot more land on that parcel that isn't developed at this time. I don't think there's plans there right now, yes, we don't have any, but I'm sure future expansion is an idea that may come up, but
Weren't they leasing to someone that was growing corn in the back there?
Mm-hmm.
yes,
The former owner.
Okay.
yes, yes.
I mean, there's been no talk about putting town-sponsored stables or anything in that area in conjunction with the recreational area or
Not
anything?
that I'm aware of. Not really.
It's a busy place, Pappas.
Sure is.
Making another 18 holes next to,
That's
We
an
could
idea.
expand Packagug and make it from 9 to 18?
yeah.
Just to get more into that, because that's not the first time I've heard that idea.
You have to cross the street.
On the, I'll show it here, on this section, where it's the back of the fifth hole, I believe,
Yeah.
about 600 feet of abutting, let's call it frontage, I guess, 600-foot section that abuts the 61A land. So that idea, I've heard that idea before, and I wouldn't rule it out completely.
Isn't there a big drop right there?
There is
Yeah,
some
let's-
serious grade, yes,
Yeah.
That'll be a challenge for the golfers, right?
sure. But this overall land has, I believe, more acreage than the 9-hole course. I could be wrong, or at least it's very close.
And that contract is coming up this year
It
too,
is
right?
this year.
Yep.
Now, just to point out a couple of things on this map that do not belong to the town. Right in the middle of the page, there's a kind of a L-shaped piece of property.
Yeah.
kind of big and it's got some houses on it if you look close enough. Those do not belong to the town. Those are privately owned. There's actually, there's a couple more on the elbow of Crescent and South Hole Road that aren't outlined in yellow that also do not belong to the town. So there's some little parts inside here that are already privately owned. I think we'll highlight those. We're gonna take it at first. Put a different color on those next time we do the map.
Are those people connected to town with water and sewer? Those houses?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I'll check.
I mean, I've heard that the infrastructure is
Sewer
in
lines,
place,
yeah.
but I don't know to what extent that is.
Okay.
With Curtis Street. where
There's a
they-
sewer line.
There is a sewer line at Curtis Street, but I don't know.
The sewer don't have a wire up there.
I know it was limited at one point before Elm Hill expanded. I'm not sure the dates, maybe within the last 20 years, but I'll get a better answer for you. I don't want to provide false info. It wasn't a long agenda, I'm sorry, but I just wanted to make sure that we had, oh, okay. You go ahead.
In the email from Dave DeLawless, he mentions that the utilities such as water, sewer, and electricity are already on site. And I believe he's referring to the portion of the property that was approved for the subdivision, South Meadow Road, I think it was.
South Old Meadow.
South Hold Meadow.
Yep. We'll check more into that, though. It's a good question.
Yeah.
So we have about 5 minutes left for the Board of Selectmen office hours, technically open in this room. So I don't know if you'd like to ask if the public has questions or if you have additional questions before we carry over.
Does the chair of this committee have any recommendation?
I think we need to organize.
We need to organize.
Yeah.
Yes, that too. So,
Well, should we ask for public comment first?
sure.
Is there any public comment from anyone?
Hi, my name is Chuck Miller. I live at 34 Arlington Street. I think the work that this committee is doing, or going to do, is some of the most important work that this town is going to see happening in the next number of years. As a 30-year resident of Auburn, I would love to see that area devoted to recreation, but more like adult recreation. Walking trails, hiking trails, even a bike path would be tremendous. To be able to go someplace in Auburn and not have to worry about taking your life in your hands because you wanted to ride your bicycle, it would be really, really nice. We have 2 tracks. It's hard to run on a round track every single day. So having a place that's a walking trail that you can actually go for a run, walk, dog, ride your bike would be tremendous. And that's what I would like to see that area used for. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
Denise Brotherton, Board of Selectmen. I can certainly go outside if anyone needs to listen, so I do not interrupt your meeting.
Or
Okay?
it's okay.
I'm just letting you know that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I believe organization is in order.
Well, I would nominate Anne for chairman because she's had a lot of experience being a chairperson at important committees.
Second?
Well, thank you.
Second, yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Is there a motion and a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Well, thank you all very much. Then I'll call for a nomination for vice chairman. Is there a nomination? Someone?
No.
Louise Downey?
You want to nominate Louise?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Do you accept that nomination?
Okay.
Okay. All those, are there any other nominations for vice chairman? All right, then there's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Then we are good. So is there a motion to adjourn?
We have to decide next
Oh, wait a
week.
minute, I'm sorry. How did you post our meeting to meet with the selectmen? Is it two separate meetings, or are we to continue?
I would recommend that we request a
Continuance,
recess
a recess?
until 7:15 and reconvene at the Board of Selectmen.
All right, then that's what we will do. Is there a motion? To-
So moved.
Prior to that, I apologize, sorry, maybe set our next meeting date.
Do you want to set that now, or do you want to wait until after we find out what we're going to hear from the selectmen?
I think we can set it. I mean, if we're gonna go with the first and
Then we'll just put it
third,
on the
which would
third
be
Monday?
next week, right?
Yes,
That
it would
the
be.
third.
Yeah.
It would be the next. That would be off cycle from the selectmen, so this room would be available, I would take it. So do you want to plan on meeting next week on the 15th?
Fine by me.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. Would you be kind enough to post that for us?
What time?
7?
Okay.
7?
That's good.
Okay, so the June 15th at 7 o'clock. All right. Then will someone make a motion, please, to recess until 7:15, where we will reconvene with the Board of Selectmen?
So moved.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed? We are recessed.